On today's podcast, we're reminding ourselves of the words from the poet Eugene Ware, who said, "All glory comes from daring to begin." All glory comes from daring to begin. As we launch into a new year of life, of work, of relationships, of whatever your pursuits are, I hope we all hear those words with new ears and dare to begin again. Welcome back to The Thermostat with Jason Barger. If you're currently on a commute, a walk, or just a micro break in your day, glad you're making time to step back, to think, and to reflect on the next steps on your journey. I've never been more convinced the best leaders and team cultures in the world are the ones that make time to step back, breathe in good oxygen, and calibrate their thermostat. I hope today's conversation leaves you feeling grounded and inspired. Now let's dive into today's topic to engage our minds and hearts in order to authentically lead and create compelling cultures wherever we are in the world. Hey everybody, it's Jason and welcome back to the Thermostat Podcast. Wherever you are, however you're coming to the podcast, welcome in. So glad you are here. We are in Season 8. Hard to believe, but welcome to Season 8, which really means the fancy way of saying, I guess there's close to 220 episodes or so, which is incredible, but we've received so much great feedback and there's great mojo about this podcast. So glad you are listening. And if you are new to the podcast, welcome. I hope you'll go back, check out some of those old episodes, and I hope they really resonate with you. If you are one of the originals that have been listening for some time now, so glad this continues to add value to your life and work, and grateful for you, and hope you continue to show up and this continues to breathe a little oxygen into you. My commitment, as always, is I want this to be a place for you to step back, to think, to reflect, and also to have a little bit of oxygen breathed into you so that you can think about the temperature you're trying to set in your life and your work, and even be more intentional in the year ahead. So keep listening. I hope if this resonates with you, I hope you'll do the favor of rating the podcast 5 stars, going back and checking out the episodes that have really resonated with you. Rate them 5 stars. The episodes that have been really great, leave a nice review in your own words. Those are ways in which the algorithms work and help us other people find it. And then I'd invite you to think about the episodes that have really resonated with you or the topics and share them with the people around you, your people on your team at work, people in your life. Hey, check out this episode. Let's listen to it. Let's talk about it. Share it on social media, whatever's authentic for you. But those are the ways in which we amplify these messages further into the world. So thanks for everybody that does that. A new year brings new beginnings. Every year, every time the calendar turns a new year, it represents new beginnings. And the turn of the calendar represents the new opportunity. Oftentimes for some people, it feels like, wow, we've got new hills to climb. But it's also a new canvas to paint, or whatever analogy works for you. There's newness that comes with every turn of the calendar. And this new year for all of us is an opportunity to, what I would say, and the words I love, is to dare to begin again. To dare to begin again. I'll unpack what I mean by that on this episode, but my encouragement is that all of us, are coming into this new year with the mindset of and willing to take a step in the direction of the life that you hope to create and the progress that you hope to stimulate. So on today's podcast, we're reminding ourselves of the words from the poet Eugene Ware, who said, "All glory comes from daring to begin." All glory comes from daring to begin. As we launch into a new year of life, of work, of relationships, of whatever your pursuits are, I hope we all hear those words with new ears and dare to begin again. But before we dive into today's topic, let's pause and take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Many teams and organizations right now are realizing that they need to do both. They need to engage the minds and hearts of their people in person, where everyone in the room can experience the energy of congregating together and find clarity for the road ahead. And they also need to continue to find ways to engage the minds and hearts of their people virtually, with those who are working remotely or at a distance. So if you are in the process of planning your next team meeting, company all-hands event, conference or culture summit, and are looking for support with a powerful keynote speech, facilitated team conversations that are the currency for change, or deeper development on leadership mindset and an intentional strategy for the culture you're trying to create, I hope you'll contact us at jasonvbarger.com, jasonvbarger.com. It is my privilege and our honor to partner with great people to provide support in these areas. We want to breathe oxygen into your leaders and throughout your organization so you can set the temperature you want for your culture. We look forward to connecting with you soon. I hope you'll contact us at jasonvbarger.com, jasonvbarger.com. It is my privilege and our honor to partner with great people to provide support in these areas. We want to breathe oxygen into your leaders and throughout your organization so you can set the temperature you want for your culture. We look forward to connecting with you soon. If you're one of the OGs that have been with us from the very beginning, you may recognize that in years past, you may remember some of the language and mindsets that I try to carry with me, as the calendar turns into a new year every year. I try to focus my mindset on the difference between being versus doing. And I talk about, the crazy rush that often happens, this time of year where people are talking about their New Year's resolutions and all the things that they're going to go do. But then research tells us that most people lose steam within the first 3 weeks, and all these things that they said they were going to go do, they already by week 3 or 4 have quit doing them. And so I've reframed that of not just what are the things we want to do in the year ahead, but who is it that you want to be? And let your being drive your doing. Who do I want to be? And then if that's who I want to be, what would I go do? And what would be the actions that would follow? And what are the habits that I want to continue to form and the practices? So a practice I've been thinking about for a number of years now is this idea of being and doing. And, I'm focusing on the year ahead to be, I want to make sure that I'm healthy, that I'm passionate. And I want to continue to grow and develop and build on the relationships that I have with the partners in the organizations that I'm lucky to serve, but also with my family, with my wife, my kids, my friends. And really, I want to be the best extension of who I'm hoping to be in the world. And so from that being, I hope it drives my doing. And I have a plan to check back up on myself along the way. I've also talked about, last year at the beginning of the year, I talked about setting my own GPS in accordance with that being and, the being that I wish to drive my doing. And GPS, by GPS, I talked about, again, GPS meaning helping to find our direction and move us out of that being that we say we want to be. But setting the GPS, last year I talked about GPS standing for goals, passion, and service. The goals, what are your biggest goals for the year ahead based on who you want to be? Not just what you want to do, but what are the goals of who you want to be in the year ahead? For passion, how will you show passion, energy, focus on your goals and that person you want to be weekly? And then service. Who is the goal in service of or for? Do you have clarity? And it can be multiple, but is it just about you, or is your goal and your passion and your efforts, is it about service to not only yourself, but service to others, service to a mission greater than yourself? And so I think about the partnerships and certainly the companies and organizations I serve. What do they need? What is it they want? What are they seeking? I think about my wife. How can I serve Amy and our marriage better? What does she want? What is she seeking? What does she need? How can I serve my kids at the different ages of their development? What do they need? What are they seeking? I'm part of their success and the relationship, and who is it that I want to be for them? And certainly you can go back and listen to old episodes that I've done on this idea of setting your GPS. But today, Eugene Ware, the poet, his words, "All glory comes from daring to begin," echo in my mind. Those words always take me back to the beginning of my own journey of writing, speaking, and consulting, because those were words that I held out in front of me, I put it up on my big dry erase board as I was beginning. I'd quit my job, and I think about those days of writing my first book, Step Back from the Baggage Claim, and the ambiguity that was surrounding me of where was this leading, and was anybody going to even care about this book that I was writing? I had just quit my job, and we had 2 young kids, and Amy was on maternity leave, and yet those words echoed in my mind, dare to begin. And I think about the feeling that arose in me each day of needing to dare and to find courage to put myself out there and to share my thoughts and be willing to go create, to go share messages that I thought were important, but I didn't know if anybody else would. And the reality is, now speed forward, 15 years later of daring to first begin on that latest journey, 15 years later, and now 4 books and countless number of speeches for companies and organizations and events and associations, the amazing company and organizational partners and leaders that I support on an ongoing basis to help them raise their level of leadership and the culture they're trying to create. Even after all of that over the last 15 years, those words still ring true for today. Each day is still an invitation to dare to begin again. To not just rest on what has been created yesterday, but the forward lean to grow, to share, to stimulate progress, to dare to begin again today. And of course, I'm not just talking about your professional work, although I know that there are ways for you professionally to think about how do you want to dare to begin again in the year ahead. But I'm also thinking beyond work, of your life and any pursuits that you might have. I'm thinking about the impact that we have in the world and the relationships around us. I think about those words in terms of what it might mean for me to dare to begin again as a husband. To dare to begin to say, hey, hopefully I've been a good husband, and I think I have for 22 years, but what does it look like in the year ahead? And will I dare to begin again? I think about what it means to be a father at the different developmental stages for our children. What does it mean for me to dare to begin again? As a friend, or to try something new to make a positive impact, or some dream that you have of something that you are trying to create, or for the job or the team or the organization that you've worked for and with for so many years. Instead of complacency setting in, what would it mean to dare to begin again? And I believe that it's a mindset. And my hope for myself and for, of course, anyone listening out there is that we all will challenge ourselves in the year ahead to bring this mindset to say, let's not just let complacency set in, but let's dare to begin again. So what would progress look like? Who is it that I want to be in the year ahead? What's going to require courage to put myself out there, to try something new? Dare again in your life or your work, dare to begin again. So a couple of questions that I would leave you with to ponder as you're thinking about this episode to kick off a new year. In what ways in your relationships could you dare to begin again this year? What professional pursuits could use your courage to dare to begin again? And what does daring to begin mean to you in the year ahead? I can already see that how powerful those questions could be for us individually, but also for a team or an organization to think about how might we dare to begin again in the year ahead. That's a retreat right there. I'll bottle up and package right there for you. But to be able to engage the minds and hearts and have a conversation about that and get clear on what are those actions and behaviors that will help us dare to begin again in the new year. So I hope you start a new year breathing in appreciation and gratitude for all that's in your control. And now's a chance for us as individuals, as teams, as organizations to bring energy to each other. It's a chance to calibrate our own thermostat and to think about remember that we are the thermostats, and our own internal temperature will set the temperature externally for those around us based on our response and our behavior. And all of us have a chance to breathe good oxygen into our life and work so that we can set that temperature that we want. So I hope you'll keep tuning in. I hope you remember. I hope you certainly reach out to us, info@jasonvbarger.com, on email, info@jasonvbarger.com. If you've got any topics you want us to talk about in the new year, or any things that you want to share with us, obviously hit me up on social media @JasonVBarger in whatever that ways that is authentic to you. And remember that the best leaders, teams, and cultures on the planet, they stimulate progress by recalibrating their thermostat together and then breathing good oxygen into each other. Step back. Remember, be a thermostat and breathe good oxygen. Thank you for listening to today's podcast, and I hope the messages and questions stimulate positive change along your path. As always, if these messages resonate with you and add value to your life, I hope you'll help amplify them throughout the world. Please rate, comment, and share on whatever podcast or social media platform you're using, and share this podcast with the people in your life or work who should be part of these conversations. That way, this spirit does, in fact, spread. If these messages or developing leaders and culture would be helpful to you and your organization, please contact us at jasonvbarger.com, jasonvbarger.com. And remember, we are all ambassadors for the culture we want to create in our life and work. We have to own the vision we want to be a part of. The future of leadership is you, is me, is us. Be a thermostat.